Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to get started in just 1 second. We will open up our meeting. I have to read a disclosure. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will start with our recognition of Cathy Wilson. So with that, I will call to order this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this December 20th, 2023. The time is now 7:03 p.m. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting has been emailed to the Daily Record and Morris Newsbee on January 5th, 2023, and posted to the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available at www.morristwp.com under the Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the state's Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and township staff: any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Grayzel.
Here.
Ms. Gariglia.
Here.
Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Jeffery.
Here. If everyone could please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to our final Township Committee meeting of the year, especially given how late in the season it is on December 20th. But as folks who have been to our Township Committee meetings in December before know, it's often a time where we honor someone truly special from our community who has served and spent many years of their lives serving our residents day in and day out, spending many nights and weekends and so much time here in Town Hall. And tonight we're especially grateful to be honoring someone who we've all worked on this dais for many, many years, and who many of the people in this room have worked with for many, many years outside of Township Hall. So it's a privilege to be here to recognize my good friend and of Morris Township's public servant, Cathy Wilson, our Deputy Mayor for Public Outreach. Like many of our speakers who are here with us tonight, to give Cathy an appropriate send-off, when I was trying to put my thoughts together about her and what to say tonight, I couldn't really decide because she has done so many different things for Morris Township over the years through so many different causes and initiatives. We're all going to talk about the amazing work Cathy has done during her 6 years on the Township Committee and her decades spending time here in Morris Township as a resident. I think the majority of this governing body as it sits today wouldn't be serving behind that dais if it wasn't for Cathy at some point in their political careers. I'm pretty sure. I think everyone but Jeff.
Everybody. Jeff brought me on.
But I first met Cathy in February of 2017 when I was a legislative staffer down in DC on Capitol Hill for now retired Congressman Albio Ciros, who's actually mayor of West New York now. But back in 2017, which I still was a township resident, by the way, even though I was living in DC. But back then I reached out to Cathy, who was then the township Democratic chair, because I was shocked and horrified by the member of Congress that represented this congressional district in this town back then, voted in favor of a bill prohibiting the federal government from trying to stop those with histories of mental illness from obtaining a firearm. And the only reason why I would know that, because I was literally watching the floor that day on the House because I was doing my job for my boss. And who did I turn to but Cathy, because I wanted someone to start telling the residents up in Morris Township what had actually occurred that day. And my experience with Cathy, working on a letter to the editor to the Morristown Green back in the winter of 2017, was the experience that so many of our residents had with Cathy over the years. She listened to my concerns. She did her research to try to find solutions. And she put herself out there to advocate for my issue because it then became your issue. And that has been your story serving our residents. Their issues become your issues. Cathy was incredibly determined and persistent. She continues to be, and she strongly holds her values. One other story I wanted to note that many other people here tonight might speak about. Started before she was a member of the Township Committee. Many may remember Cathy being here before elected on this side of the dais with your camcorder, recording the Township Committee meetings, serving the public, not in an elected office, serving the public in your own capacity as a local resident, and recording all the monthly meetings with your own camera, editing the video, and posting them to YouTube for our residents to watch so they knew what was going on in Morris Township. She even created her own nonprofit organization to raise money for this effort, to help pay for part-time workers to help produce these videos when you were unable to do them yourself. Now, in this day and age, providing quality video access to recordings of public meetings is table stakes for local government and all levels of government, and is considered a best practice. But I think a lot of us may have forgotten or blocked it out of our minds, but back then, during those years, Cathy was not welcome to be doing that service to our public. Here you had an active, engaged resident of this town, a grandmother of 4, spending her nights in the municipal building, recording the meetings free of charge to the residents, many of which she had never met before, and showing them and educating them about what their local government was doing. And now picture yourself in this very room, sitting at a bench, and seeing this person, seeing Cathy here recording the meetings, coming up to the dais when she had questions, and then getting mocked at and laughed at by the people on the other side of the dais, and told that everything she was doing was a complete waste of time. Imagine that. Imagine watching your grandma doing that on video now and seeing that. Seriously though, it's preposterous. And I know so many of the people here tonight were standing behind Cathy during these days. But let me absolutely say, first of all, no one ever deserved treatment like that, ever. No resident ever deserves treatment like that. But you know what? Cathy didn't take their words to heart. She continued recording the meetings because she knew what she was doing was on behalf of the residents, not on behalf of herself. She ran for Township Committee. She faced a setback. She ran again and then was sworn into office in 2018. Due to Cathy's efforts over the years and thanks to federal funding received through Congresswoman Cheryl's office, Morris Township now has C-SPAN quality live stream videos and recordings, not just of these meetings, but our planning board meetings, our zoning board meetings, and live feeds to all of our advisory committee meetings. It's become the standard of Morris County, and many of our neighboring municipalities are now upgrading their practices and equipment to meet our standards. These are just 2 of the many, many stories that the folks on the dais have and the folks here in the audience have of Cathy's good work on behalf of our residents. Cathy, I'm incredibly grateful for our time working together, both before and while on the governing body. Thank you for your partnership on so many important initiatives. We have not always seen eye to eye on everything that has come before us, but we both have a mutual respect and level of trust in one another and trust each other that we're going to be doing the right thing on behalf of Morris Township. Thank you for dedicating the last 6 years of your life to the residents of our town. Thank you for encouraging me to run for elected office for my first time.
It's not his way.
And now I'll turn it over to my colleagues on the Township Committee to say a few words of Cathy. If they'd like to come up to the dais, I would encourage them to. And then after we have our governing body speak, I'm going to invite some other dignitaries who are joining us here tonight to speak.
Thank you, Mark.
Committeeman Grayzel, do you want to come up?
Sure. Tom, you want to go first?
No, you go.
No.
No, okay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out on this special evening as we recognize this very special person here on the dais. Like so many instances in life, You get out of something what you put into it. Your return on an investment of time is based on the effort that you put in. Hard work does yield greater returns. Cathy Wilson is a living example of what hard work can yield. All of us in Morris Township have reaped the benefits of that hard work that Cathy has put in for us. Cathy has had a hand in so many initiatives over the past 6 years that she truly will leave a lasting legacy on our community. We'll be thinking about everything that you've done for many, many years to come. On behalf of a grateful community, thank you, thank you, thank you for all you have done for our town, for our residents, and for making Morris Township a much, much better place for all of us. I wish you so much good in your future, and look forward to reading your next chapter.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got to come up with me. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Come on, girl, you got to stand up here. So if you're a good friend of Cathy Wilson's, you'll know this expression that she has said at times. Why don't we hop in my car and go for a ride for a minute? By the time you're back at your car, Cathy is on the brink of solving world peace. These are treasured conversations, and if you have been lucky enough to experience it, you know it's pretty special. So I thank you, my friend, for all those.
Thank you.
In this room, there are so many public servants, and we have all stepped up. But the difference with someone like Cathy Wilson is she just doesn't step up. She climbs the entire staircase. She has an empathy and understanding that puts her in the place of every resident that brings a concern. If you know her well, you know she has a spiritual side entrenched in righting any wrong, seeking answers for those in need, and understanding that many of the questions of our future lie in the answers of our past. Cathy is the consummate scholar, studying the issues of today, but also working to understand the role our history has played in shaping them. We thank you for everything, Cathy, and you will be deeply missed. As you sign off from this post, just wishing you the best is not enough. Go on fighting the good fight. Wow, I didn't think I'd get upset. Go on fighting the good fight for yourself, for those who need it, for those who don't know they need it, and for every single one of us. And like all great dignitaries and presidents before you, you deserve to be commemorated in a very special way. So on behalf of the entire Township Committee, we are presenting you with your very own Cathy Wilson bobblehead. Complete with a wildflower meadow, site plans, her purple pen, her laptop, and her jacket have the seal of Morris Township.
Oh my God, thank you. Wow. Never expected that, that's for sure.
Would you like to go up next?
Bud is next.
Yeah.
We're not saving the best for last this time. You're last.
Ah. This is great.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And
We have glue. We have glue. I can't believe you did.
I don't know if I can really expand on what my colleagues have said so eloquently about Cathy Wilson. She did bring me into politics. I was a keyboard warrior. She saw a sign on my front lawn one day and doing what she does so very, very well, knocking on doors and speaking with residents. And she knocked on my doors and we got into a conversation And, you know, I think it probably lasted almost a half hour, our first conversation. And she said, you know, we need people like you serving in the party. We need people like you to help out. And it took another visit, but after that, I became active in the party, and I have never looked back. And I have, you know, and I have Cathy to thank for that. So, you know, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be your deputy mayor if it was not for you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I've had the privilege to serve on a number of committees with Cathy and here on the dais, and I don't think I've ever seen someone take as many notes as she does. She must have a wall. Hold up that notebook, will you?
Yeah.
And she must have a wall of notes that goes back, all the things that can be put in her new books, and taking the fight of her activist fight to the next level. It's something that, you know, she got into the trenches like nobody did. And for that, she was always a wealth of knowledge, and someone that you could always go to, you know, to ask a question, and she kind of knew always what the answer was. And, you know, and it was just wonderful to be down in the trenches with you. So thank you for that also. Cathy is an activist extraordinaire, and I know that in the next phase of her life, she will continue to be an activist, sitting where you are sitting and standing where I'm standing, although facing this way again, and being a tireless advocate for the residents of Morris Township and the people of Morris County, and somehow I get the sense the people of New Jersey. So on behalf of myself and whoever's left, thank you, Cathy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bud, Donna, and Jeff. I do want to recognize some guest speakers who were here this evening, and we're really grateful for them coming out. Before I do that, I just want to recognize some dignitaries who are joining us remotely tonight. We have our Mayor Emeritus, Peter Mancuso, who has sent in some remarks that Mr. Ravitz will be reading. We have our Parks and Rec Director, Bill Fulch, who's joining us, and I saw our EC Chair, Brian Morgan, is online, as well as Councilwoman Sandra Whitner from Dover. She's also joining remotely. So thank you all for being here. Our guest speaker tonight, we have a message from our Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, which we'll be throwing up on the videos shortly. So if the team in the control room is able to start putting that up, that would be great. We're happy to have Senator Tony Bucco and Assemblywoman Ora Dunn here tonight, who will be speaking shortly. We have Mayor Bob Conley of Madison. We have our committee woman Amalia Duarte from Mendham Township. We have the former chair of the Township Democrats, Noelle Robinson, who's here to speak, the Morris County Democratic Women's Chair, Megan Lynch, the past president of the League of Women Voters, Nancy Hettinger, who's a Township president, is here. And we also have the current Township Dem Chair, George Quillen, and we have a special guest for Cathy too after that. But without further ado, if the tech crew is able to upload the video from Congresswoman Sherrill from Washington, we'll go ahead and play that, and then I'll invite the district director for Congresswoman Sherrill, Kelly Doucette, who's here tonight to present a certificate to Cathy. So let's see if they can get that up. If not, I'll just invite.
Hard to believe.
Here we go.
Well, it's really hard to believe I'm here today because it seems like just yesterday in 2018 when I was swearing in Cathy Wilson. And I have to say a huge thank you to her for what she has accomplished in the 5 years since she took office. She fought hard for Morris Township families as deputy mayor and mayor, even during the darkest days of COVID. She really made sure that we had the ability to have transparency for our township hearings, to make sure that you, the public, could hear about what was going on. In fact, that's why I'm able to be with you tonight. So she's long led on thinking forward and what the future is going to look like in Morris Township. So I just want to say thank you again for all of your continued hard work for everyone, and I really appreciate your years of service.
And I'll invite Kelly up to present the certificate to you, Cathy. If you want. Or,
Well, the Congresswoman said it all, Cathy, but she asked me to come this evening and present you with this congressional certificate marking your service and to thank you for just all the years that you've put into being here in Morris Township, both before and once you're on the committee as well. So,
Thank you.
Yep, so.
Picture.
Do a picture, yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And if I can just say just one word on a personal note as well, as somebody who is part of a community of women in a neighboring town, who in 2016 and 2017 were trying to find our way and how to get involved. I hope you know how big of an inspiration you were to all of us. You were always a few steps ahead, showing the way and helping us understand how we could make an impact in our communities. And that means a lot to us. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
It's all about the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'll now invite Senator Anthony Bucco, who's always been a fantastic partner for Morris Township, to come up and say a few words.
Just lower this a little bit here.
Sorry, and
Thank you.
Assemblywoman want to come up?
Come
too?
on up.
And Assemblywoman Ora Dunn as well. Thank you.
So it is certainly an historic night here in Morris Township. The mayor's announced that he's running for governor. And Cathy has her own bobblehead doll. So I don't know. It doesn't get much better than that. That's for sure. But I'm honored to be here tonight to recognize you, Cathy, for all that you've done for the township. It is not easy putting yourself out there to run for elected office, especially, Cathy, what you've done, in a political world that sometimes seems to be dominated by men, right?
Really?
Listen, that's the way it is sometimes. I'm not saying it's right, but you put yourself out there, and that takes courage, and it takes leadership, and it takes an ability to connect with people, to get them to believe that your cause is just and that you are the one that they want you to lead them forward. And you did that, and you did it with grace. I can tell you that from my perspective, it is not often that we have bipartisan cooperation, right? Cathy has worked closely with me on many issues, and I was grateful for that and thankful. Not only did I appreciate the respect that she gave to me and the confidence that she had in me, but listening to someone on the local level, you gain a different perspective. On the floor, in the assembly, I sat next to Nancy Munoz. And I always used to respect the advice that she gave me when legislation came up, because you do get a different perspective. And that's why it's so important to have leaders like you, Cathy, at all levels of government. And you certainly have done a great job, and you've taken on some tough issues. And the fact that your leadership abilities got those initiatives through is what proves what you're made of. So tonight, I'm honored to say, thank you, and to wish you well in the next chapter of your life. I am sure you will not be far from here, and I am sure that the imprint that you've made on the township will last for a long time. So thank you. And Ora and I have a resolution that was introduced on the floor of the Senate by me and on the floor of the Assembly by Ora and her running mate, Kristen Branco, and recognizing all that you've done throughout your wonderful career. So thank you.
So much of what has been said rings true. just listening to all the stories. And, you know, Cathy and I may not have had as extensive of interactions, right? Every so often when I come into Morris Township, but you may not know about this. When I first ran, and it was my first day out knocking on doors, I decided to go to Morris Township, right? It's one of the largest towns in the district. And, well, Cathy came upon, I was parking my car. So I didn't even get out to start. I remember this. This was 2018. And I guess you could call it curbside campaigning, maybe. She wanted to know my agenda and my platform. It was, what are you doing about this? What are you doing about this? It took, you know, like the elevator speech, I really had to finesse that. So I want to thank you for that, Cathy. Sure. So even as you know, a woman in politics on the other side of the aisle, I've always viewed you as a role model. And I like to say a sister in service. And I think I heard you call, you know, I'm the oldest in my family. So I'm the big sister. I think of you as the big sister. And you know what big sisters do? They say they're not bossy, they just have better ideas. Is that not Cathy?
Yeah, that's good.
So it really is an honor for me to be here tonight and really to be able to thank you personally for making me a better candidate, a better public servant, for inspiring me. And, you know, I still went after it, right? I didn't. And just all that you've done for the town. I know we talked a lot and exchange ideas and, you know, as they say, if I were to agree with you, we'd both be wrong. But really, you know, you always seek the common ground and you always want to bring people together, find consensus and move things forward, which you have. And so I want to congratulate you for that. Wish you the best of luck in the next journey. I know we're all kind of anxiously waiting, right? What you're going to do next. So congratulations.
Thank you. I don't even remember that.
Oh, I remember it.
You'll have to tell me more. Thank you. Wow. I need more room on my walls. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator and Assemblywoman. I'll now invite a longtime friend of Cathy's, both in politics and personally, committeewoman from Mendham Township and chair of the county Democrats, Amalia Duarte, to say a few words.
I love that bobblehead.
I know, me too. Whoops. Gotta get there.
Don't knock it over. Good evening. So I'm here tonight as the chairwoman for the Morris County Democratic Committee. As a fellow elected local official, I'm on the Mendham Township Committee, but most importantly, as a friend and as a fan. I had the honor of swearing in Cathy back as the mayor back in 2020, and now I'm feeling especially honored to speak here tonight at her final meeting. I'm going to tell my little Cathy story. So I first met Cathy back in 2016 at a presidential debate watch party. Do you remember that? I don't know if you do. She was very excited because a new person had shown up, right? Outside of the usual group. But I think she was even more excited because my son was there, who was a teenager at the time. And so they had a great conversation. A few months later, in early 2017, after I decided to run for Township Committee, or was asked to, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And so I reached out to Cathy for some advice. Cathy was generous with her time, gave me some great ideas about campaigning, and she immediately became a faithful supporter and a guide. And that anecdote really summarizes Cathy. She is a true servant leader. She leads by example in her ethical behavior and her high standards. She doesn't try to build and hold on to power for herself. She shares power. She works collaboratively with everybody. She puts the needs of people ahead of her own. And she's committed to helping others in her sphere grow and attain their goals. That's how she's conducted herself on the Township Committee, the Municipal Democratic Committee, and during her service to the entire community. She could have ended her service this final year as mayor, but instead she ended up with the title of Deputy Mayor of Public Outreach. And I actually think that's an even more fitting title, given how she has stayed 100% true to her mission of serving the public. Cathy has many achievements in her time on Township Committee. I'm just going to name a few of them. First of all, she broke the glass ceiling when she became the first woman Democrat elected to the Township Committee. She then became the first woman Democrat to serve as mayor. There's my long list here. She led her community as mayor during COVID, clearly the most difficult assignment that local officials have had in recent times. Also in 2020, she served on the planning committee, and I'm sure you remember this. You co-hosted a very special bipartisan countywide event that we planned honoring the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. That was on the steps of the Madison Borough Hall, and because of COVID, it was outside and we were masked, but it was a really wonderful bipartisan event. And I emphasize the bipartisanship because while Cathy, of course, is a fierce Democrat, she always wants to act in an inclusive manner. And that's why tonight we heard such kind words from Senator Bucco and Assemblywoman Dunn. She worked very hard to get Morris Township to achieve bronze level certification from Sustainable Jersey last year. She launched a seniors advisory committee. She's written thoughtful pieces about topics such as pilots and urging Republican candidates to participate in the League of Women Voters forums. Hopefully that will happen soon. And here's an amazing fact about Cathy that I actually didn't know about until recently. She's never missed a Township Committee meeting in 6 years, but it gets better. She told me that she's never missed a meeting in 10 years. So back when she was videotaping, 10 years of never missing a meeting. And that dedication extends to the subcommittees. We had our Morris County Dems holiday party last Thursday, and I was talking to Cathy about it, and she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry I can't come." I said, "Why aren't you coming?" It was going to be her final environmental commission meeting, and she wasn't going to miss that. So that's the dedication that she has. As, by the way, as a side note, she'll pop up at town meetings all over Morris County and at county meetings. So, but her crowning achievement, which was mentioned earlier by the mayor, really is expanding government transparency by getting the township meetings broadcast on the website back when you were taping those meetings and on her YouTube channel. She started her fight for a seat on Township Committee by taping the meetings, right? So her influence is felt in this room as I can wave at myself. I'm being videotaped. And as the mayor said, it is now standard practice to have Zoom-in meetings and videotaping meetings and meetings available on YouTube and elsewhere. Her message of transparency is now a routine way to conduct business. And I think that's an amazing achievement. You really broke through on that. So I just want to close by making an announcement. And I'm going to put my Morris County Democratic Chair hat back on. The Morris County Democratic Committee is going to be honoring Cathy's legacy through a new award. It's going to be called the Cathy Wilson Leadership Award. Wow. And it's going to recognize other servant leaders like Cathy who are serving their community, whether as an elected official or in another capacity, with the same dedication, humility, and empathy. And so I'm excited we'll start that in the spring of next year. I truly, like everybody else here, I hope Cathy stays involved in Morris County politics because we need leaders who are in it for the right reasons to serve the public good. So with that, thank you, my friend, for everything you've done for me personally, for everything you've done for your community, and everything you've done for Morris County. And I can't wait to read your book when that comes out.
Me too.
So thank you.
Thank you so much, Committeewoman Duarte. I would now like to invite Mayor Bob Conley of Madison up to speak. And as Amalia stated, I know Cathy worked closely with Bob during your term as mayor, but also you've always kept in touch with Madison and the Chathams throughout your tenure on the committee, trying to learn from what our neighboring towns are doing. And Bob has been always such a great partner to the Township of Morris. So I'll turn it over to you, Bob. Thank you.
So much has been said already. I feel a sudden urge to buy a bobblehead doll or enter the race for U.S. Senate or run for governor. But no, I will stick with my agenda, which is such an important one, which is to recognize Cathy as you step down as a committee. But we all know, as has been said already, you're not stepping away from serving and supporting others, because that has been your life. Your time relative to your whole career in Morris Township has been fairly short, but you have made an incredible difference in the lives of Morris Township residents. And as I was thinking about, how you arrived sitting right there, one of the things that I've often called is the accidental candidate. And that is someone who speaks up on an issue with no plan to ever run for office, but is passionate about an issue and goes and fights that battle. And certainly for you, as has already been mentioned, it was greater transparency in Morris Township government through the video recordings. And as often happens as they fight for the issue, they said, the only way I can really make it happen is I'll become a candidate. So hence the name Accidental Candidate. So there you were. And as Mark mentioned, you were not successful in your first try, but of course you went up against the legendary Peter Mancuso. Hello, Peter. But that did not stop you, because we know things like that will not stop Cathy Wilson. So undeterred, you were elected in 2017. And from the number of video monitors and cameras, it is clear you were successful in bringing the meetings to the homes of the residents. But sometimes the challenge of being an accidental committee person, when you make that transfer, is you just stick with that one issue, not Cathy Wilson. Because the video was just the beginning. Your passion for supporting sustainable Morris Township has already been mentioned, so important. It's been talked about your support for others, showing up at a county open space meeting to speak on behalf of the Drew Forest is greatly appreciated. Passion for safer streets for walkers and bikers will also be part of your legacy. And as Amalia mentioned, the fact that you leave with the title Deputy Mayor for Public Outreach says so much about the approach you have to government. Another part of your legacy, I believe, comes from your background as an educator. Yeah. Forever teaching, but forever learning. As mentioned, in the early days of the pandemic, I organized a group of mayors, and we got on a weekly call to talk about what we were learning and what we could do together. And those calls kept going well beyond the early days of the pandemic, and up until recently, when things got too crazy, they just recently stopped. But on every call, you picked our brains, and so that you could learn. And you taught us not to back down from what is important. So I want to just wrap up with I have a proclamation. And though I do get paid by the whereas, I'm going to only read one of them. and the now therefore part of it. And then I will also do my final whereas. But whereas during the time on the Township Committee, Cathy has shown residents what can be accomplished with active, informed citizenship. Now, therefore, I, Robert H. Conley, the Mayor of Borough of Madison, on behalf of the governing body, hereby recognize the contributions of Committeewoman Cathy Wilson. We enjoyed working jointly together while she held public office, and thank her for being a friend to Madison. And we know she'll enjoy having more time to spend with her children and grandchildren. And personally, I know you will continue to fight for what's important, including affordable housing reform. But I want to thank you for making Southeast Morris County such a great place to live for all. And thank you for our partnership and friendship. It will continue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, picture.
Picture, we got to get used to that.
You want a box to start putting all this
Yes,
stuff in?
yes.
Thank you, Mayor Conley. I'd now like to invite up another long-standing friend of Cathy, and I believe possibly the person who might have got you involved in local politics some years ago, but I'd like to invite former chair of the Township Democrats, Noel Robinson, up.
Oh. Your dear friend. Oh, wow, thank you.
This is a bittersweet moment for me because for those of us who've known Cathy for years, part of me is so happy that for the first time in years, she'll have time for things that she loves, spending time in Chicago with her children and grandchildren, enjoying travel, just enjoying life at a leisurely pace. She certainly deserves all this and more. On the other hand, what would our township be without a devoted public servant, Cathy? She's an advocate par excellence for the residents of the township. She has consistently encouraged and in fact rallied her fellow residents here in Morris Township to become involved in the affairs of the township, whether it be by her asking for input from us or by the establishment of more active and/or new advisory committees, the Economic Development Committee, the Transportation Advisory Committee, and the one I know best, the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. My friendship with Cathy goes back to before she first ran for Township Committee in 2013. According to Cathy, she became politically astute following Superstorm Sandy when she was without power, like many of us in the township, for 12 days. In typical Cathy fashion, she became a bit of an authority on electrical outages and the role of public utilities. The rest of us just bellyached about no power, but you know, typical Cathy. She was a very active member of the Township Democrats during my years as chair. When we began our search for a candidate in 2013, Cathy had some qualms about running. She knew it would be a very tough campaign against a longtime and beloved Morris Township former mayor. Good evening, Peter Mancuso. I reassured her by saying her passion for the job, her incredible work ethic, and her background, longtime school administrator, and her later earning a graduate degree in negotiation and conflict resolution from Columbia, were well suited for public life. Though she lost that year, Cathy became a formidable candidate with deep knowledge of township issues. Happily, she also discovered how much she enjoyed campaigning and meeting residents while going door to door. And here's a little anecdote about Cathy and campaigning door to door. I was probably one of the first ones who ever went around door to door with her. And I have to say, she probably doesn't know this, that she never moved along as briskly as I would have liked. She was always, you know,
Really?
and the reason was because whatever people said to her, she wrote down. And if there was something that needed attention, she took it to heart. I mean, she was only a candidate. She wasn't an elected office. So for instance, if somebody said, oh, I would really like a stop sign on my corner instead of a yield sign. Not only did she take down the information and tell the person I would get back to you, and she would get back to them, but she'd go and investigate how you get a yield sign changed to a stop sign. I mean, that's just Cathy. Who does this during a campaign, not being elected? I don't know. Nobody besides Cathy. She might not have believed it, but following her loss, I remember telling her she would one day be mayor of the township when she first ran. I guess I have a rather good crystal ball because I think I also told Jeff that way back when. Fast forward to 2020 when Cathy was elected as the first Democratic female mayor of Morris Township. What a job to have during the pandemic. But Cathy, of course, gave it her all and did the best possible job she could for the township residents during that very, very difficult time. Others have already spoken in more depth about Cathy's contributions as mayor, deputy mayor, and member of the township committee. But I can wax nostalgic about all the very hard work and dedication to all things township that Cathy embodied from her very earliest involvement. We can all hope that perhaps Cathy's stepping back from public life is only temporary, but whatever your decision, and I am sure I and many others say a huge thank you. for all you have done to make Morris Township such a wonderful community. All the best to you, dear friend.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Noel. I'd like to now invite up Megan Litch, Chair of the Morris County Democratic Women's Caucus, who chairs an organization that I know is near and dear to Cathy's heart. She's been a longtime member and advocate for the Women's Caucus. So I'd like to invite Megan up to say a few words. And Megan's also the chair of the Randolph Democrats.
Good evening. I am incredibly honored to be here. I first met Cathy in 2017 when she ran for Morris Township Council for the 5th time. She ran four times. Sorry. She had run 4, yeah. I was hired to work on her campaign for the final month leading up to the election. This was my first Morris County campaign. In that same year, Governor Murphy was running, as well as Lisa Bomani, Tom Moran, and Rich Corcoran for LD25. The stakes were high, as was the energy level. I had a crash course in all things political in Morris County and Morris Township. I learned that in addition to being the candidate, Cathy was also the municipal chair. So our campaign meetings were also committee meetings. 30 people would show up with all of their opinions and all of their experiences, and it was crazy. Cathy ran them like a top. I learned from that experience what a well-run committee looks like. I was not the chair of Randolph Democrats yet. It was magnificent. I also learned that Cathy was a voracious note taker. Somebody else mentioned that. And a dedicated canvasser. She would make notes on every single printed van list, adding comments about who would make a great addition to the green team or the name of a resident who had expressed interest in a specific committee. There were a lot of notes. Thankfully, I also met one of my very close friends, Mary Ellen Denoon, who was enlisted to manually enter all of those notes into Van. We spent a lot of time together. So Cathy was elected that year, though not everyone who ran that year was successful. From that race, I learned that dedicated, consistent canvassing can turn a town from red to blue. Cathy felt the pain of those who didn't win. So I also learned what it looked like to be a gracious winner. Fast forward to another year, another election cycle. We had started the Women's Caucus, of which Cathy was a founding member. I was navigating the tricky issue. Several of our caucus members were vying for the same chair, same seat. Cathy had recently dealt with the very same issue on the Morris Township Committee. She reminded me that not long before, we had to beg people to run for office. She told me this is what democracy looks like. The committee had its own mini convention and voted for their slate. So the lesson I learned from there was that there is a right way to do everything. As a caucus chair and a committee chair, I'm always on the lookout for good candidates and good volunteers. And Morris Township has a saying, full-time mayor and a part-time gig. I believe that was coined after Jeffery Grayzel was mayor. But to me, Cathy is the embodiment of full-time mayor and a part-time gig in every role she has taken on in Morris County politics. She's the standard by which we should measure all potential candidates and all elected officials. Cathy, you have been a friend and a mentor to me. I'm grateful for your guidance and wisdom over the 7 years that I've known you. I'm sending you all of my love and wish you all the best for the future. And I also cannot wait to read your book.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Megan. I'd now like to invite up a longtime township resident and past president of the New Jersey League of Women Voters, Nancy Hedinger. And the National League too.
State.
State,
Yeah,
yep.
State president, and she's the current.
And I also grew up with her son, RJ.
Thanks, Mark. Well, for those of you who don't know much about the League, we're a nonpartisan organization, and the League has a vision of a democracy where everyone has the knowledge, the right, the desire, and the confidence to participate. Cathy has worked tirelessly both through the League and as a member of the Township Committee towards making that vision a reality. Her belief in government transparency and the rights of citizens to have a say in their government is in her DNA. And we've already heard many of the ways Cathy's advanced democracy and empowered the voters of Morris Township. One example that I would like to raise, though, is Cathy has supported and participated in candidates' debates from her first debate in 2013.
Remembers that.
And I do remember that. And when people talk about, well, she had to go up against Peter Mancuso, that's a really difficult, scary thing for someone to do for the first time. So, and being in a debate is, you don't know what questions are going to come up and how that's going to go, but she did it because she believed, as we do, that people have a right to hear what the candidates have to say so that they can vote for the person whose values represent their own values. So Cathy, thank you for that. And if any of you, in fact, if anyone read in September, I think many of you have read in this Morristown Green, she did an excellent commentary on debates and the importance of doing debates. So thank you for that too, Cathy. Anyway, these qualities of the DNA we've all witnessed. But what is less known about Cathy is that she's a student of history. In fact, some of you may remember the well-researched proclamation she prepared for this committee commemorating the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. I was really impressed with it. So Cathy, all of us in the League are really proud of you, and we wanted to give you this gift. It's a photo. Well, I'll let you see it, but it was taken at the celebration of women's suffrage that Amalia mentioned in Madison. And thank you.
It's a picture. Should I open
You know, if you want. I did.
Oh, that is really nice. I need more wall space. Thank
Well,
you
it's little.
so
You can put it on
much.
your desk.
That was a
Thank you.
great event. I loved it. Thank you.
You mentioned my check.
We do.
Thanks.
Color coordinated. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm now going to invite up the current chair of the Township Dems, George Quillen, to say a few words. We're almost halfway through, everyone. I'm just letting you know.
Yes, that was a joke. I'm last. I wrote a nice speech, but everybody's already said most of the things that I was going to say. So you're lucky. I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be boring you by repeating the things that they said. But it's great to be with you. It's great to be able to honor Cathy. It's a little intimidating to have here two of my biggest political mentors, Noel Robinson and Cathy Wilson, my two predecessors as the chair of the Morris Township Democratic Committee. They were both great inspirations to me. And Cathy in particular really shows a tremendous amount of energy, which when I met her in 2017, like so many other people, in February of 2017, same month that Mark met her, I came to a meeting of the committee feeling very depressed because of certain recent political events, which I won't describe, in the country. And she was full of energy. She had a plan. She knew what she wanted to accomplish. She really inspired everybody to work hard and to bring others into the group and to help reverse some of the problems that we have been seeing. So a lot of the successes that we've had in recent years have been due to Cathy's work. She's been wonderful. Enthusiasm, determination, and a love of civics and civic engagement. She embodies all of these traits. The main example that I was going to mention was the nonprofit that she founded Friends of Televised Access in Morris Township. I won't say anything more about that. Everybody's talked about that. But it was really wonderful to see the way that worked out. And she got a lot of people to contribute money and help her out. And the rickety camera was always interesting to watch. Another story, Cathy and I were two of the members of the public back in 2017 who commented in great detail, on the planning board's draft master plan reexamination report. This is something that the planning board does every 10 years. So we made a lot of comments. Frankly, we were pests, but we made our points and we sometimes got our way. Cathy persuaded the planning board to recommend the establishment of a new advisory committee. So that recommendation went into the reexamination report. And that new advisory committee is the Transportation Advisory Committee, which has done tremendous work.
Yes, it is.
And is definitely one of our most active and most successful volunteer boards. And it wouldn't have happened without Cathy. We know about Cathy's work for environmental causes, excuse me, and for expansion of grant funding. She's been a tireless advocate for finding multiple ways to inform residents about the operation of their government. One example that I remember really well is the Township Committee meeting on the Abbey redevelopment. That meeting didn't go super smoothly, but I was standing out in the parking lot and I was very impressed by all the effort that she put into making sure that the residents got to ask all their questions. Then there were the educational sessions that she ran on affordable housing and on pilot programs. Township Committee office hours, which was her idea. Visioning sessions, setting up the Seniors Advisory Committee. Whenever she can advocate for more communication, she'll advocate for more communication, more engagement. That's what she does. She taught me a great deal about local, county, and state law and politics. And in particular, she helped me understand the municipal land use law, which is a very arcane state law that governs the work of the planning board and the Board of Adjustment. I had a lot of fun, tremendous fun, and I learned a lot on some of the walks we went on together in and around properties that were being considered for development or redevelopment, or as they say in the trade, improvements of various kinds. This year, Cathy and I serve on the planning board together. Next year, we're going to miss her and her deep research and her good questions as a member of the board, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's sitting out here and listening in the audience and asking questions from time to time. Cathy, thank you so much for everything you've done for Morris Township. I know you have several projects in the works, and I look forward to reading everything you'll be writing. You'll continue to be a force not only in this town, but throughout Morris County. And I hope we can go on more walks and look at the properties that might be developed or maybe even left as open space.
Yeah.
Congratulations on all your successes, and thank you again.
Thank you, Wow. Jeez.
Thank you, George.
That was really nice.
Thanks.
We're almost done. We're almost done. Peter Mancuso wanted to be here tonight to provide you a proper send-off. And unfortunately, he couldn't make it, but he is here virtually. But he did provide us some remarks, and I'm going to invite Bud Ravis to come up to the podium and provide Peter's remarks on his behalf.
I'm back. I have the honor of delivering the words of my friend, Peter Mancuso. Peter, who is also all of our friends. And he was described as a legend, and I'll second that motion. Cathy Wilson has always been a staunch advocate for proactive communications with residents even before she was elected to the committee. She led the charge on recording, broadcasting township committee meetings, as well as being a dependable and hardworking member of the planning board. She has been a passionate member of the Environmental Committee, as well as a founding member of the Transportation Advisory Committee. She would always come to a meeting with an open mind. Having done her homework, she would make decisions that she felt was in the best interest of the township and not to any particular economic or political group. Cathy was a strong advocate for residents and initiated Sustainable Jersey and the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. She served on the Township Committee from 2018 to 2023 and was elected mayor by her peers on the committee in 2020. She served on the many standing committees, as well as providing extraordinary input as liaison to the planning board. She led initiatives for the environment, energy, and sustainability, and capped these efforts with her focus on the senior citizens and providing an outlet for their creativity. Her thoughts were that someday she would be a senior citizen, and she wanted to have the benefits that accrued before she became one. I'm getting there too. I worked hand in hand with Cathy for 6 years when she was on the committee, and while we disagreed on some issues, we would always reach a compromise and an understanding that was fair, reasonable, and was always for the benefit of our residents. She will be missed by all of us, and a void is created that will be very difficult to fill. Cathy, we wish you all great success in whatever and wherever your next adventures take you. We thank you and will keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. I can't see it. He's on, right?
Yes, he is. Thank you, Bud. We have one final speaker. We're going to need the tech team to help us put him up on the screen. And if Mike or Jack can come turn the TVs on the other side too, so everyone in the room can see. But we're going to invite Cathy's grandson, Evan, to say a few words if he's still on Zoom.
Maybe. Maybe.
So, and then if Jack or Greg, can you just pin him so we can all see him on the big screen? And then I will turn it over to Evan once he's ready. Okay, you're good to go, Evan.
Congratulations, Grandma.
Congratulations, Grandma. We can't wait to see you soon.
Love you.
I look forward to seeing you soon.
Kiss, kiss.
He can't see me. Thank you.
I'll ask the rest of the governing body to please come up with me to present Cathy some gifts from everyone up on the dais. So Cathy, we have a resolution for you. We're not going to read it in front of everyone. Everyone has time. It's 8:05 right now, so I don't think we need to read it all. But on behalf of the Township Committee, we just want to thank you for everything you've done on behalf of the Township. We wanted to thank you for being such a tremendous colleague and always such a good partner in trying to get our goals and initiatives across the finish line. So we had Donna picked up some beautiful flowers for you for tonight. Purple, your favorite colors. Of course. We also want to present you with a journal, which is also purple.
Oh.
And on the front, we have Cathy Wilson, 25th Mayor of Morris Township, on the journal.
Wow.
Because we know you'll be taking notes.
Thank you.
And you can't have a purple journal without a purple pen.
I need that
So if I can get this box open.
Here, I have one.
We have a customized purple pen for you too.
Oh my God,
So
thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you want to save it for your committee commentary. If you'd like to speak now, you're welcome to.
I'll do it now. They might want to move on.
So Cathy, we've taken up an hour of your time. Now we're here for the next hour for you.
Jeez. I'll be brief. You won't believe it.
Here, hold up your. That's fine. Okay. Let me clear out this stuff for you so you have room. Here, hold it all while you speak.
I am completely blown away. Thank you so much. My goal was to make it through without crying, and so far I have. So I just want to thank you all for all that you've done. Thank you all for being here. I do have some comments. I will say at the outset, I did not know that my note-taking was so obvious, and I didn't take notes on your comments. But yes, it is a habit, and I like my purple pen. And I find that my notes come in really handy because I can remember what happened. So, and I'd like to thank everyone who's on Zoom too. Peter, I can't see you, but thank you for your comments, and I send you a big hug. So as I look back on my 10 years of active service in our community, it has been quite an adventure. One quirky fact, Amalia alluded to it, one quirky fact I'm really proud of is that other than our administrator, Tim Quinn, I'm the only person, I believe, in Morris Township who's actually attended every one of these meetings since 2013. Correct? Unlike Tim, however, I spent half of that time here, sitting in these seats, speaking at this podium, and it was faced this way. And ironically, I consider that my participation on this side of the dais to be one of my biggest accomplishments. It's true. I did it for 5 years. I attended every one of these meetings as a resident. I exercised my voice as a citizen to ask questions, to make suggestions, and to advocate on behalf of things I really believed in, like doing video of these meetings, for example. That experience had a truly profound impact on me. It showed me what happens when elected officials don't really get civics. It taught me what it feels like from a resident's perspective when you attempt to exercise good citizenship and the officials on this side of the dais are not so happy with your efforts. Having served for 6 years as an elected official myself, my North Star has always been to do everything possible to support good, active, informed civic participation on the part of our residents. To me, the residents, the citizens are the lifeblood of our democracy. Fast forward to today, I am really happy with the progress we've made. Just a couple examples, some of which have been alluded to, but I'm going to mention them again. After 4 years of videotaping these meetings and posting them on YouTube myself, the township now handles all the videos of these meetings, and in addition, posts videos of the zoning board and the planning board. That is progress. I am really proud of that. After years of pushing the value of obtaining certification through the Sustainable Jersey program, we made it. Last year, Morris Township earned bronze certification, a huge accomplishment for our town. We're really proud of that. After years of working to build the capacity of our Environmental Commission to serve as the voice of residents who are passionate about the environment, REC is flourishing. It's filled with members who are knowledgeable, energetic, and committed. REC is rapidly developing a reputation for excellence, particularly on the site reviews they do for our land use boards, but also on many other fronts as well. I'm going to save my comments about the Transportation Committee and our Seniors Committee until later in the meeting, and I'll conclude with this. Tonight is indeed bittersweet for me. It marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. I've loved working with all of you. I'm sad to close the door on this 10-year adventure, but I'm happy to open a door to new adventures with my kids and my grandkids and new opportunities to pursue my writing interests. I know our paths will continue to cross, so I'm not thinking of this as goodbye. I'm thinking of it as see you somewhere else soon. Here's to wonderful next chapters for all of us. Thanks, everyone, and thanks for all your kind comments. I still made it. I'm going to give you my quote in case I did cry. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Dr. Seuss. Thanks, everyone. It was really good.
Before we take our break, we are going to open it up to public comment. If there's any other members of the public who'd wish to speak about Cathy, we'll take care of that in our first public comment period. So with that, we have 18 members of the public joining on Zoom, and we have a full house here in person. May I please have a motion to open the public comment period?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I would like to recognize our Mayor Emeritus, Peter Mancuso, who has his hand raised. And Peter, we'll turn it over to you for the first public comment. So Peter, you can speak now.
Yep, I have you.
There you
Cathy, I'm sorry I'm not there tonight with you. I wish I was. And I found it very, very poignant to hear all your remarks and comments. It's been such a long time that we have been together through thick and thin. And as I said in my notes, we always didn't agree on issues, but we always found a way to compromise. All I can say is, from the bottom of my heart and all the rest of the residents of Morris Township, God bless you and keep you forever. Amen.
Oh, Peter, thank you. God bless to you as well.
Thank you, Peter. If there's anyone else in the room who'd like to come up to the podium and speak, you're welcome to. I see Mr. Kavanaugh's coming up, but Mr. Janata, you can go. If you just try to keep a custom name and address for the record too, please, that'd be great.
Siva Janata, 77 Hillcrest Avenue. One thing I must note about replacing Cathy Wilson or taking her place is Cathy Wilson's not going to be up there with me. And I wish she was, but I know she's going to be there. And thank you again for that, your legacy. And the videotaping here is a legacy. And it's surprising that you were mocked. But I think one part of my Cathy Wilson story is Noel Robinson called me up one day, and I wrote, whenever the primaries come, there's a blank space, I write my name there, just as a write-in candidate. And Noel Robinson called me up as saying, "You wrote your name on the district rep. Would you like to join?" And I was bored at that time, so I said, okay. The next thing I know, I went to the first local Dem meeting, and Cathy Wilson was the chair. That was the first time I actually met her. I mean, I saw her running for office, and which was a brave thing for me to see. And it was a deer in the headlights moment. I was like, what am I doing here type thing. But Cathy made me feel welcome. And I think I might have given a good impression for her, because several months later, she asked me, would you want to run for Township Committee? And I honestly had to say, no, I can't, because I didn't know too much about the town. I never went to one of these meetings before, actually, I think, until that time. And I know Cathy went to all of them. So I'm thankful that she was the one who ran. I'm sure everybody's here is thankful that she ran because you won. And you ran against a Johnson Sapphire. And 6 years later, I ran against a Johnson Sapphire. But one of those ironies. And I didn't know purple was your color, but I just happened to wear a sweater.
I like your purple.
But yes, Cathy's legacy is the videos. And also, when I tried to get on one of the committees, I was trying to getting on the Historical Preservation Committee. And when we had the chance to get there, she said, would you like to go into Historical Preservation? I said, yes. But then she said, that's the only committee you would be joining. And I wanted to be in more than one committee. So I said, I'll be in an Environmental Commission committee. And Cathy just mentioned all the accomplishments. And I'm glad that I'm one of the key members of that committee to do that, guided by Cathy, but also all the different chairs that led that group. And the site reviews, I was one of the people who wrote them, and we learned a lot and we did a lot. And now I'm going to be the liaison. We're going to continue. I need that list of your accomplishments because I want to make sure I continue all of that. But,
I wrote it down.
thank you. And I didn't realize Cathy was a well-known note taker because, again, I'm a well-known note taker. I mean, I have piles of it. I think it runs in my family too, I think, although I'm not sure afterwards. But also as a fellow history buff and writer, I can't wait to see what you're writing, and we'll compare notes.
We will.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Thank you, Siva. And I'll invite Jim Kavanaugh, who's a longstanding member of the local American Legion chapter, as well as the Memorial and Veterans Day Association. Jim, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Jim Kavanaugh, 11 Featherly Road, Morris Township. I'm between meetings tonight at doing my rounds with the nursing homes for the veterans. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay. If I get an opportunity, I'll make a quick comment before I leave later. But anyway, today, I just wanted to personally express on my behalf, as well as the neighborhood that I captain over in Normandy Parkway, Columbia, Featherly Road, and Green Knolls, that we all appreciate your candor, your openness in terms of listening, problem solving, and your credit to the township. And I personally really appreciate it. And I speak on behalf, I believe, of Brian Morgan, who I think was going to speak for the Environmental Commission, but he didn't come on. And I see Pat Collins is here and some others, but we've been pretty active over the years, and we appreciate the flow of the input and the transparency. God bless you.
Thank you, Jim. God bless you.
Thank you, Jim. So I see Rob Wilson, who's virtual. We'll go to him, and then if there's someone else in person, you can line up. So Rob Wilson, will turn over to you. If you just name and address for the record, please.
I think.
Rob Wilson in Hinsdale, and I'm here with the grandkids.
Congratulations, Grandma. Congratulations.
I can't see you.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, congratulations. We got no camera. I don't know why.
I'll see you in a couple days.
All right.
I look forward to it. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Rob. Lee, did you want to come up?
Hard to follow the grandchildren.
See them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just wanted to thank you for your service on behalf of all the residents of Morris Township. I can't remember the exact time we first met. I think it was somewhere in the middle of the 54 Honeywell meetings that were going on back, I don't know, maybe 11 years ago. And then spending a number of those years where some nights we were the only ones here in the audience for many years. And just watching the growth and the elections and all the good work you've done in getting people engaged and pulling the best out of people and getting them involved is truly, it's a wonderment. I can't imagine that being replicated anytime soon. The amount of involvement that has been spurred by you getting people involved has truly been a benefit to the community, in my opinion, and and has been certainly welcomed by many. I've met a lot of interesting people and great people, either that through you. I really miss sort of those days when we were the only ones in the audience and being able to talk about things. Actually, on this side of the dais, that's been limited over the years, but look forward to perhaps you returning and being able to engage.
never know what might
You
happen.
just never know. Yeah, all the just out of curiosity, I think yesterday I did a search on Morristown Green just for Cathy Wilson. I think the results set came back with about 20 pages of all kinds of articles. I think Amalia referenced earlier the commentaries. Anytime I saw a commentary published there, I made sure to allocate time to read through it thoroughly because I knew it was going to be an education and really be given sort of, in my opinion, an unbiased view on any of the topics, whether it's Morristown and the Township working together on pilots, or advice you would have on maybe how the DEP or the Green Acres program would treat the dump over there in Morristown. So, we're really all one community. Our kids all go to school together here in Morris Plains, the town, the township, and your ability to work together collectively is just really, it's a wonderment to me. I know it is to many, and appreciate the time and attention that you've dedicated to this. On several occasions, maybe 3 or 4 occasions, I had the opportunity to meet your father as well, and I know how proud he was of the service and your accomplishments, and that was always, good to see that connection. And again, it's been wonderful to have you as our elected official doing work on behalf of all of us, and look forward to seeing what the next chapter is. And then lastly, I serve on the zoning board here in the township, and we have an application in front of us for a development. And just recently, there was a report from the Environmental Commission in our packet. And when I was going through it, it was about 8 or 9 pages. It was very detail oriented. It had a lot of really good information for the board members to ask questions on, to study, to utilize. And this is what the progress looks like when Cathy Wilson gets involved in something and really spearheads it. So this is where the change
That is
happens.
the EC members.
Yes. But your time and attention on EDAC, TAC, Environmental Commission, it's all greatly appreciated. And thank you for all you've done for all of us. Thank you.
Oh, my
Mr.
goodness.
Grayzel.
All right, do I have to say my address?
Yes, please.
Okay.
No, you
Alex,
can't. No.
No?
Wait, yeah, you can.
Okay. Alex Grayzel, 1 Indian Head Road. I just wanted to say congratulations to Cathy Wilson. She's done a lot of stuff for our town, and she's been very influential on everyone's lives, especially my dad's, which has definitely rubbed off on myself. So I just want to say happy retirement and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
Tough to follow up on that level of genuine appreciation. I'm Lisa Alexander, 14 Crescent Drive. I'm the Executive Director of Grow It Green Morristown, and I'm pleased to let you know in the next chapter that Cathy is joining us as a board member of Grow It Green Morristown, and we are so pleased. We stand for education, open space, and the environment, and Cathy stands for all of those things, and she really helped to advocate along with many of the other committee members here to bring the Winter Farmers Market, which is all about community outreach. So I just wanted to say thank you, and we are excited to have you join us.
Me too.
Thanks,
Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Pamela Watson. And then we do have one person virtual. So after Pamela goes, we'll do that. And then I think we'll take a brief recess after that.
My name, Pamela Watson. My address, 2 Corey Road, Unit D, Morris Township. And I'm here to say thank you to Cathy. I'm going to really miss you, but I met her in 2017. She was running, and we were canvassing and just listening to all the wonderful things that you have done in the 6 years you've been here. And I know how everybody feels, because I really feel the same way, especially for one of the projects that's affecting me and my neighbors with the renovation of Collinsville Playground. I've been there for 30 years and nothing's been done to that playground. So we are very appreciative of you and for all the township committee members that are working with you and have joined you on that. So I'm going to miss you very much.
I'll be around.
Okay. All right. Okay. And I'll see you.
You
At
will.
one of those rides. Okay.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Pam. I'll now recognize our Environmental Commission Chair, Brian Morgan, who's joining us virtually.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I just wanted to, again, I did get to say some comments at our Environmental Commission meeting that Cathy skipped the party to attend the other day. Just wanted to say a few words. Yeah, again, Cathy's the one that got me onto the Environmental Commission. So as mentioned, this is Brian Morgan, 24 Green Knolls, if I need to say that. Yeah, so Cathy's the one that got me involved. She's been, again, an invaluable leader. She's a mentor, friend. Again, her progress on environmental, not that it hasn't already been said, but her work on Sustainable New Jersey. Again, not only did she motivate people, she actually did the work. She spent an uncountable number of hours getting that done, not just trying to convince the town that it's the right thing to do, but actually doing the work to get it done. Her work on helping us with getting our Environmental Commission newsletter off the ground, and just always encouraging us to have a great partnership with other committees, the professionals where possible, and other towns. She's an amazing role model in that case, and really just helps us on the EC just be very effective. And she's opened my eyes greatly to see that in this politically charged world, that politics is hard. Getting stuff done at a local level is hard. To be able to fight, get consensus, and push for really what you want to stand for. It's not easy. And Cathy has made it look easy, that she takes a punch and gets back up and keeps fighting to make sure that she stands by her convictions. So I just want to say thank you, Cathy, for everything you've done. Definitely going to have a bill with you stepping back, but I want to thank you for being a friend, a mentor, and an amazing public servant. So thanks for everything, Cathy.
Thank you, Brian. And the same to you.
Thank you, Brian. And not seeing any further comments or in person on Zoom, is there a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor? We'll now take a brief recess. We do need to get a lot of work done in the next 30 minutes in our public meeting, but we'll take a quick recess for folks to head out if they need to, and then we'll gavel back in right at 8:34.
This meeting is being recorded.
Calling back to order this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. The time is 8:34 p.m. If members of the committee could return to the dais, and all members of the public leave the committee room if they're wishing to have conversations.
Don't have a bar. We only have one.
I'm trying,
You need
Mark.
one more,
I'm
man.
trying.
One more, you can start pushing this up through.
If Mr. Grayzel and Mr. Ravitz could come back to the dais, we'll continue with our meeting. Okay. Approval of the minutes. We have the September 20th, 2023 closed and regular meeting minutes and the October 18th, 2023 closed and regular meeting minutes for approval tonight. May I please have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Proclamations. We have one proclamation on this evening's agenda that is recognizing the Morris Plains Rotary Club for 50 years of service. The Township Committee was pleased to present this to the Rotary Club at their 50th anniversary breakfast last Friday. We will now move on to our hearings of our ordinances for public hearing and adoption. We have 5 ordinances on the public hearing and adoption list tonight on tonight's agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the first ordinance into the record, and we'll have our public hearing.
Ordinance 26-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 88 entitled Vehicle and Traffic, Article 2A, Section 88-2A, Point 2, and Schedule 2, handicap parking spaces. Note, adding location to schedule for enforcement.
We'll take comments from in-person attendees first, then switch over to Zoom. If you're on Zoom, please raise your virtual hand. May I please have a motion to open the first public hearing on ordinance number 26-23?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any members of the public wishing to speak on ordinance number 26-23, please raise your digital hand or come to the podium. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I now please have a motion by a committee member to adopt ordinance number 26-23?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion items from the committee? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Griglia,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Yes. Mayor Jorfi.
Yes, I, Mark Jorfi, Mayor, declare ordinance number 26-23 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish the proper notice thereof in our official newspaper. Madam Clerk, please read the second ordinance into the record.
Ordinance 27-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 88 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Article 4, Section 88-41, and Section 9, no parking, certain areas of municipal parking lots and driveways. Note, adding location to schedule for enforcement.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. May I please have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 27-23?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any member of the public wishing to speak, please raise your digital hand on Zoom or come to the podium. Seeing no members of the public coming to the podium or raising their digital hand, may I please have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I now please have a motion to adopt ordinance number 27-23?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or items of discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Ms. Griglia,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Yes. Mayor Jorfi.
Yes, I, Mark Jorfi, Mayor, declare ordinance number 27-23 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. Madam Clerk, please read our next ordinance into the record.
28-23, ordinance of the Township of Morris, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 95, Article 9, off-street parking and loading. Note, commercial retail parking spots to be 9 by 18 with hairpin striping.
We'll take comments from in-person attendees first, then switch to Zoom. May I please have a motion to open the first public hearing on ordinance number 28-23?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no members of the public wishing to speak, may I please have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I now please have a motion to adopt ordinance number 28-23?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion points? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Ms. Griglia.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Yes. Mayor Jorfi.
Yes. I, Mark Jorfi, Mayor, declare ordinance number 28-23 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. Madam Clerk, please read the next ordinance into the record.
29-23, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris, amending Chapter 216 of the Township Code. Note, new requirements per state legislation for lead remediation.
May I please have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 29-23?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any members of the public wishing to speak, please come to the podium or raise your digital hand on Zoom. Seeing none, may I please have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I now please have a motion to adopt ordinance number 29-23?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Griglia.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Yes. Mayor Jorfi.
Yes, I, Mark Jorfi, Mayor, declare ordinance number 29-23 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. Madam Clerk, please read our last ordinance into the record.
Ordinance 30-23, ordinance establishing salaries and compensation for employees of the Policemen's Benevolent Association, PBA Local 133 of the Township of Morris.
May I please have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 30-23?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any members of the public wishing to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, may I please have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I now please have a motion to adopt ordinance number 30-23?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Yes. Ms. Griglia.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mayor Jorfi.
Yes, I, Mark Jorfi, Mayor, declare ordinance number 30-23 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. We have 22 resolutions on tonight's agenda. I will request that we pull from the block and vote separately on resolutions 27-23 through, I'm sorry, 277-23. Vote on 277-23 separately and 276-23 separately. I cannot vote on 277 due to my role in the fire department. And I'd also like to pull 276 separately to allow members of the Township Committee to comment or discuss on that resolution.
Mayor, I'd like to move resolutions 257 through 275 and 278 in a block.
Is there a second?
Second.
With that, the clerk will call the roll on those resolutions.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz,
Yes.
Ms. Griglia,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Dorfy.
Yes. I will turn it over to Deputy Mayor Ravitz to handle resolution 277-23.
Thank you, Mayor. May I have a motion to approve resolution number R 277-23?
Second.
Okay, may I have a roll call vote for resolution 277-23?
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Griglia,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes, back to you, Mayor.
Recuse.
That's it.
I'll just take it over. Thank you, Bud. We now have resolution 276-23. Is there a motion to introduce or to vote on resolution 276-23?
I would be happy to
There you
make
go.
that
Is there a
resolution.
second?
I will second that.
I will, Ms. Gariglia, did you want to comment on it? And then we'll have
Yes.
the other members of the committee
Thank you,
comment.
Mayor. Resolution 148-22, adopted on June 15th, 22, stated a complete and green streets policy be adopted in 2023. As a member of TAC, I came in on this over the past year and want to thank all contributors over the years who have been diligent in working towards this goal. With mutual respect and trust in the process by all parties, we get more accomplished. The path to doing this is not always pretty. This is a good policy, and the collaboration between the Complete and Green Streets Committee under TAC and our professional staff was an integral part of finally producing what we have. The township is a suburban area, and our support to move the needle on making it more walkable, more bikeable, and universally accessible in every way while developing more connections throughout our town is something we all agree on. We respect the professionals' background and knowledge on all regulations that need to be adhered to while enhancing our overall network, but keeping the character of our community. We should be proud of putting this next step in place. When the end results benefit the community, we all win.
Thank you, Committeewoman Gariglia. Deputy Mayor for Public Outreach, Wilson.
Thank you. I don't have prepared remarks. I would just like to say that this policy, we've been working on this for, I don't know how long, probably 3 years. And when I say we, I mean, it's been part of TAC and our professionals, and getting to this point has been a lot of work, a lot of back and forth, a lot of negotiating. And just to cap it off, I do have one question. My question is, it was my understanding that there was an agreement that to amend the founding ordinance of TAC to establish serving as a Complete and Green Streets Advisory Committee as one of the responsibilities of TAC going forward. And I don't see it in writing, but I just want to, is that correct?
You want me to answer?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, it is. It has to be done by ordinance, and as you know, we can't introduce an ordinance in December and adopt
Right.
in January. So I know the governing body is looking at that ordinance altogether, and that would be one of the changes that I expect in 2024.
Good. I'm really glad that was a point where we spent quite a bit of time on that particular issue, and I'm glad to know that's in the works for next year. So I just wanted to clarify that, and I really thank and appreciate all the work that went into kind of getting this done by tonight. I know it sort of put the hammer on it as far as timing, but I do appreciate it, and it's definitely been something I've been working on. I'm not on TAC this year, but I was in the past, and this was something I'm very interested in. And just as an aside, it's one of our biggest sustainable Jersey point getters too.
Not that that's why we did it, but I can see why. There's a lot to it. So it was a team effort. I'm really appreciative and thank you. And it's really good for our community.
Thank you, Kathy. Committeeman Grayzel, do you want to make a comment?
Just very quickly, I just want to point out that this is our final piece of legislation for the year, and it's occurring on Kathy's last meeting. So I think it's pretty amazing that those are occurring together, and it just reiterates or reinforces the point I made earlier about your lasting legacy on our community. This is yet another policy that you've had your hand in, your thumb on, that's going to make our community better for years and years to come. So thank you for all those efforts, and I'm glad we got it across the finish line tonight.
Thanks for all your work on it.
With that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Griglia?
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel?
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Dorothy?
Yes. Moving on to items on our consent calendar, we have 3 items this evening. May I please have a motion to approve these items?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consideration of monthly reports. Tonight, we have received reports for October 2023 from the police and fire departments, as well as the Morris Township Public Library. And we have reports from November 2023 from police, fire, tax departments, the library, and the joint court. May I please have a motion to approve these monthly reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Claims for payment. Our total amounts of bills and vouchers for this meeting is $10,956,448.04. We are, as a reminder to the members of the public joining us tonight, we are also the tax collector for the school district, the library, and the county of Morris. May I please have a motion to approve the list of bills and vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Grayzel?
Yes.
Ms. Griglia?
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Dorothy?
Yes. Standing committee reports and commentary by the Township Committee. At this time, I will recognize our Deputy Mayor for Public Outreach, Cathy Wilson.
Oh, boy. Thank you. As always, I have 2 for standing committees on our environmental. As always, our EC is working on a ton of different issues and projects. I'm only going to highlight one here. It's a project I'll never forget occurred on my last night of attending EC meetings in my official township capacity. Thanks to the work of one of our EC members, Thelma Achenbach, the Great Swamp is adopting our Avoid Invasives pledge. They will now be including it in their newsletter, on their website, and especially as part of their plant sale communications, which go out to more than 2,500 people. Our EC is thrilled with this development, and so am I. Tons of new people will now be alerted to the importance of avoiding invasives and planting natives instead, which was the whole point of setting up the pledge in the first place. While there may be reference here and there to inspired by Morris Township, the Great Swamp is adopting this pledge as its own. Lots of references to calling this our Pay It Forward project. What a great parting gift for my last night of official service on our Environmental Commission. Our Seniors Committee has finalized its report on the findings of the needs survey and the focus group event they conducted this year. Developing ways to meet the communication needs of our seniors is the top priority, is the top advisory recommendation that emerged. I encourage everyone to read this report, which will soon be posted on the Seniors Committee section of the Township's website. The findings of this report are a huge step forward in the Township's efforts to better understand and address the needs of our seniors, who, by the way, account for 1/3 of our total population. After tonight's meeting, this report will be posted on the Seniors Committee section of the Township's website. There will also be a presentation of these results at an upcoming TC meeting, which I'll probably be part of. So another way for us to keep in touch. Looking back, the progress of our Seniors Committee has made, looking back, the progress they've made in less than 2 years is really impressive. I know that under Donna's leadership in the future, that progress will continue. Should I do my Okay, I'm doing it as quick as I can. First off, I want to thank all of you for everything you did to make tonight such a special occasion. I'm really touched and grateful for everything that's happened tonight. And it was way longer and more detailed than I was expecting. It's hard to believe that this is the last time I'll share this dais with you guys and deliver comments at the end of a meeting. As we all pursue our next chapters, I do believe our paths will continue to cross. As you may know, I'm working on a writing project that deals with the history of the Mount Laurel decisions. As you well know, that issue, affordable housing, has a major impact on development decisions in every town in New Jersey, including ours. I've discovered that there's only one book on that topic in our county library. It was written in 1996. A lot has happened since then. I'm viewing this as an information gap that I'm hoping to fill. My goal is to make that history understandable, A, to elected officials, and B, to the public. So that project alone will keep us in touch. I'm also planning to share my 4 years of video of these meetings with the history room people in our local library. This is primary source material they're interested in. I'm planning to write a narrative that gives a little background on how and why these videos were created. This project connects with my interest in civics, and that interest is not going away. Promoting and practicing good citizenship has been a passion of mine for decades. You may see me here and there at future meetings, and if not, I love that we have video to keep people informed. I've really, truly loved working with all of you, and that includes everyone on this dais, all of our residents, and all of our employees. And I look forward to keeping in touch. Thanks, everyone. Happy holidays, and God bless. Under 9 o'clock. You all have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Cathy. Are there any other members of the committee wishing to be recognized?
I'm yielding my time to the continued celebration of Cathy Wilson and hope my other committeemen join me in doing so.
I'll second that.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing you at the reorg meeting on January.
Happy and healthy, everybody.
I would just like to say one thing though. I want to say thank you to everybody on this dais who's put in a lot of hard work this year. I want to thank our employees for all the hard work they did. But most importantly, we have tons of boards and commissions, volunteer boards and commissions, and we have residents of our town volunteering their time to benefit the whole rest of the community. And I really want to thank them for all of the time and all of the effort they put in, many hours of time that really benefit everybody else in the community. So a really hearty thank you to our volunteers. We really appreciate your efforts. Happy holidays, everybody.
Second that.
Thank you, Mr. Grayzel. We are now going to move on to our second public comment and inquiry period. We are trying to get Cathy to her dinner celebration reservation at 9 o'clock, so we have 6 minutes, but that's okay. But I will welcome any members of the public wishing to come up to the podium to please do so, or members on Zoom to please raise their digital hands. When you come, please state your name and address for the record.
Jim Kavanaugh, 11 Featherly Road, Morris Township. 1 minute comment so we can finish up and get out of here. Very delighted, Cathy. I'm speaking as a citizen and a veteran. I just want to express my appreciation to the mayor, to the entire township committee, to Tim Quinn, and to Annalise for coming through this year in terms of honoring through the banner program. It was a tremendous initiative, and I've been involved in trying to build patriotism for decades because my brother, when he got back from Vietnam in his uniform, they spit on him. And so for the last 54 years, I've tried to honor him by doing 20% of my service for that. The good news was that he just received 90% disability. He didn't want to apply for Vietnam benefits over all those years, but it's for him that I do it and others. It's so important that we remember the veterans because they're the ones that give us the freedom to disagree at meetings and so forth and give us all the freedoms that we have. And my final comment is I thank each of you as we end this year for your service. you get slings and arrows during the course of the year from different sides. And I try to look at things honestly, and I really appreciate your civil service. God bless you. Have a good New Year.
Thank
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, sir.
Jim has always been a tremendous partner of the township through his capacity with the Memorial Veterans Day Association and the American Legion. He's always gone out of his way to support our first responders here in Morris Township, and thank you just for everything that you do on behalf of our residents, Jim. Thank you. Seeing no further members of the public wishing to speak, is there a motion to close the second public portion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjournment is now in order. I'm going to pass the gavel to Deputy Mayor for Public Outreach, Cathy Wilson, to gavel us out for the final time in 2023 and announce our next meeting.
Our next meeting
It's,
will be on Wednesday, January 3rd at 7 p.m. for the reorganization meeting. Please join us. Tonight's meeting is adjourned.